Who's got a mystery for you? What mystery's gonna be today? Who's bringing you a mystery and he's bringing it in a mysterious way?
Mysterious way.
Open Pandora's box, who knows what you'll find?
What will you find?
As long as you keep something mysterious in mind, that's what you'll find.
That's what you'll find.
Brought to you by Pandora's box today. Oh, it's a mystery for the Monday.
And it's true. It's my turn for the mystery.
It's his turn, yeah, baby.
We all take a turn every week, so you get something fresh today.
The circle goes round and round and round once
Like
again.
infinity.
Just like life itself.
Mystery Mondays.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome once again to Mystery Mondays. That was our intro for this week. That was actually one of my more favourite ones. More favourite ones? Is that even English? I don't even know. One of my more favourite ones. One of my more preferred ones that we've done. Yeah, I quite like
Me
the
too, man.
That one had a bit of swagger, didn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
had some
yeah.
vibes,
Yeah,
bro. Had
yeah.
some vibes.
I was getting into it, playing it. It's making me want to flesh it out into a full song.
It's drop D, man. Stick your guitar into drop D.
Yeah, it
You
gave
never
me
know
sort
what's
of
gonna
like
happen.
down feels. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like sort of like a down song.
Not down as in mood, down as in band.
Yeah, down is in the band.
Oh, yeah.
Phil Anselmo's heavy metal band.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, welcome everybody to Mystery Mondays. We hope that you're having a good Monday, but also a bit mysterious. If it's not mysterious, it's about to get a whole lot more mysterious. Drew is going to be bringing us a fascinating tale this week. I can't wait. As always, the rest of us don't know what the mystery is going to be, like y'all selves, until whoever's turn it is starts reading it out. So let's get some spooky music on the go.
Oh my.
And let's get balls deep in this week's mystery.
Oh yeah. So this week, the last couple of weeks, we've been more human. We've been more, you know. And
What a way to start! What a way to start already.
And
I've been more human.
we've been more human. It's been about murders the last few, wasn't it?
Yeah,
We had like, the
couple serial
Zodiac Killer,
killers.
and we had Jack the Ripper. So I thought we'd bring it round to one of my favourite subjects ever. UFOs.
Oh, who doesn't love some aliens?
Yeah, we haven't done we've covered like UFOs and stuff on Pandora's box before, but not necessarily on Mystery Mondays. And I think, man, you're gonna know about this one because this guy, he was a guy that was on Joe Rogan podcast. He is called US Navy fighter pilot Commander
Fravor.
David Fravor.
Yeah, man, what a legend.
And yeah, I wanted to bring this one into the eyes of the public.
Yeah, man.
Just
This
like,
is a great story.
Yeah,
Great
I
story.
loved it. So I've written a little bit about what actually happened with it because we like to keep ones that have some kind of credence to them and that as well. And this is one that's more poignant.
Well, I think obviously
like that.
when you've got like a Navy commander, I think usually people think of like UFO tales. You think of like people in the Nevada desert with like tinfoil hats on.
Yeah,
that are like,
yeah.
Crazy
I've
guys.
spoken to the leaders of Zog, and you're like,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
guy has done way too much acid.
And then trying to sell you like loads of little knickknacks from it.
Yeah, like a barrage.
Area 51, baby.
Yeah, whereas like I think to be like a Navy
Highly respected
commander.
individual.
Yeah, you have to go through like vigorous both physical and mental testing, don't you? So obviously it immediately gives credibility, and it's not even like and he was a commander as well,
Yeah.
So it's like high up military personnel. And I also think even like because I don't know exactly how it works, but he's like I think he was like in the Navy, but he was like on an Air Force carrier, so he like flew the jets, didn't he?
Yes.
So like, just like to withstand the G-force alone, you have to be like so mentally with it and mentally strong, which yet again, in my opinion, adds like another layer of like credence.
Yes, exactly.
So as I said, this isn't just like some quack in the desert. This is a guy that you want to take seriously.
I haven't heard this story
yeah.
before, so I'm along for the
You're
ride.
in for a treat.
It's really compelling.
I'm going to read you my little story now. and we'll hear all about it. So this is the story of US Navy fighter pilot Commander David Fravor's contact with a Tic Tac shaped unidentified flying object along the coast of Southern California. So in my opinion, it's one of the best examples of an encounter that is verifiable, documented by the US Navy, and relates to one of only 3 officially released video sightings of a UFO by the Pentagon. Which is pretty cool as well in itself. So they've released 3 videos, and this is one of them.
I think I might have seen this actually.
So you probably saw it. So the event took place on 14th of November 2004, after Fravor had taken command of VFS 41 Black Aces, which was a squadron of US F-18 Super Hornet fighters. He was preparing them for deployment and carrying out routine training missions in the W291 training area in Southern California, which was like a strip of water where they do lots of exercises and stuff off
in the
California.
Pacific,
Yeah. So it was the first time flying off the carrier in a while, and they were tasked with integrating the Princeton Aegis cruiser, which was a multi-billion-dollar warship armed with the newest and most technologically advanced radar system available at the time. So yeah, they were this big cruise ship. They were cruiser. They were helping them do some routine updates. And the SPY-1 radar system had been seeing strange radar sightings for the previous 2 weeks, whilst the ships were practicing maneuvers off the coast of San Diego. And on the 14th of November, pilot David Fravor was leading the first training mission off the Nimitz aircraft carrier. So comrade Kevin Day, who was a Top Gun radar controller, asked the captain of the Princeton Aegis cruiser if they could have Fravor's team of 2 fighter jets check out one of the weird contacts that they'd seen on this radar. So the ship's radar looked all in complete order, and it wasn't a problem or blip on the system. And also the onboard team of people on the vessel were seeing objects with binoculars in the same location as what they could see on the radar as well. So it was like people
you could physically see it, as well as like pick it up on the radar.
Yeah, so the captain of the Princeton agreed to let the mission commence.
Cool.
Soon after, Fravor's 2 Super Hornet F-18s took off. The controller on the Princeton gave them a vector towards the nearest unknown contact.
It's cool as well that like these were like the most state-of-the-art planes in like the world as well. It's not like they're like really old, like 1980s
F-18 Hornets.
Yeah, like
Super Hornets.
Let's face it, the America puts a lot of money into their military, don't they?
Yeah, very fast. Yeah. Target bearing 270 for 60 miles, the controller said. Commander Fravor turned his plane to the west.
I like the drama. Yeah.
His wingman, a mile behind, followed him along. The 2 fighter jets didn't see anything on the radar during the 7 minutes it took to get to the location. So they couldn't see anything on theirs, but they could see it from the super high-tech one that was actually on the main ship. It was a crystal clear day, and the sea was a solid clear blue, almost the same colour as the sky. They reached the location 60 miles south of San Nicolas Island and 100 miles from the San Diego coast. Merge plot, the controller yelled on his radio. Merge plot meant they were at the same location as the contact. There was a pilot and weapons system operator in each jet, 2 jets, 4 people in total, and they began their search up and down for the unidentified aircraft. Commander Fravor noticed a small white patch on the otherwise flat blue sea, and this is Fravor now. So it looked like there was something. It looked like something was under the water, and the white water was breaking over it. It was in the shape of a cross, like an airplane just under the surface. The long side was orientated towards the east. So that's what Fravor said on Joe Rogan podcast.
Right.
Based on the shape, Fravor initially thought it was a crashed aeroplane. It was about the size of a Boeing 737.
Pretty big then.
Yeah, big. 737 is quite big, isn't it? It's like
much bigger than than a fighter jet.
Yeah.
Then the call came over the radio from his wingman's jet. "Skipper, do you see that?" The wingman's backseater said.
Loving the drama.
Yeah.
At that moment, Fravor saw a small white craft moving just above the breakwater. It was going back and forth, north and south, then east and west. So it was doing these kind of like moves, like a cross.
In a cross.
And he thought, must be a helicopter, Fravor thought. But he was confused when he didn't see the telltale rotator wash caused by the downforce of a helicopter's rotors above the ocean surface. The water just seemed really still. He explains that when looking upon the object as well, there seemed to be no rotors, no wings, or anything else for that matter. It didn't move like a helicopter either. It seemed to just change direction without inertia. In fact, it just looked like a smooth Tic Tac candy. So this big, like, rectangular, kind of
weird,
smooth, white
like a
thing.
pill.
Yeah,
I'm going down for a closer look, Fravor said, and started a descent from a circular orbit at 20,000 feet. So he was up at about 20,000 feet. As he passed within 18,000 feet of the object, which up until now was strictly pointed north-south, the object stopped and suddenly pointed east-west. It then started a climbing turnaround and mirrored Fravor's fighter across the circle. Okay, this is getting interesting, Fravor thought. Imagine.
By golly.
By golly gosh, what's going on? So imagine going around a very large spiral staircase. The Tic Tac was climbing up and Fravor was descending down on the other side in this like circular motion.
Wow, like they're gonna like intersect.
In just a few seconds, the Tic Tac climbed up to Fravor's altitude from a complete standstill. That is not possible for any known modern aircraft.
Yeah.
So yeah, in seconds it got to the same altitude as him in this kind of circular move. Modern fighters have to use kinetic energy to climb 2 to 3 miles vertically. The thrust, of course, makes it easier to climb that distance, but you still need kinetic energy. Fravor flew across the circle from the Tic Tac for another 30 seconds before he decided to try and rejoin for a closer look. Fravor over-rotated his fighter to cut across the circle. This is a standard rejoin maneuver, but it is also what fighter jets do to execute a gun attack.
Right.
So he did this like move to try and like go over the front of the thing, and it's like normally that's what you would do to like try and fire. So in that moment, as Fravor pulled the Tic Tac to his nose to complete the rejoin and fly alongside the Tic Tac, the object started to accelerate across his nose of the plane and then poof, just disappeared.
Yeah.
So it's like it thought because he was doing this maneuver, he might fire. He thought it was threatening because that's a common one that you do if you were like going to engage. So then he said, yeah, it just disappeared. Okay, Fravor said on the radio. Does anyone else see the object? It's gone, Skipper, the wingman said. They turned the jets to see what was under the breakwater, but there was no breakwater, just clear blue ocean. I'm kind of weirded out, Fravor said to his backseater. The two fighters were completely alone over the ocean. With nothing else to investigate, Fravor turned his jet back towards the CAP, which it means Combat Air Patrol, where they started, point near the ship to continue the mission. You're not going to believe this, Skipper, the controller said, but that thing is back at your CAP point. What? The CAP point was 60 miles away. Did it fly there in 30 seconds? That's not possible. This would indicate a speed of 7,200 miles per hour.
Whoa.
So it showed up again, but back at Fravor continued.
Was that where it was originally at the beginning of the story? Sorry.
No. So it was at the CAP. So that they went to that point where it was. Yeah. But the CAP point was there at the start of their mission thing.
Right. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. And it just turned up there. So 60 miles away. So that 7,200 miles an hour for it to have got there in 30 seconds. Fravor continued the planned mission and landed, never seeing the famous Tic Tac again. But after landing, he told Chad Underwood what he saw. Chad took off and filmed the famous FLIR1 video that we can see online. So we're going to play this in a minute. Yeah, sure. And it's just so you can see. So all this bit that we've just talked about wasn't filmed or anything. Yeah. But afterwards, someone else went out there and then filmed something, and then that's the thing that's been released by the Pentagon and stuff. Yeah. So that's pretty crazy, isn't it? So that's
Just as like a little side note before you go on, I remember almost like because it was released like during COVID. Like the footage, and I remember like even like hearing, obviously this is just pure conjecture, but like hearing like maybe it was like released during COVID, because at the time so people were so worried about COVID and so sort of like balls deep in COVID that like in normal life, like say it had happened like it was released in like 2018, like it would have probably been this like global thing. Like, it would have been way more of a spotlight on it, but because it happened during COVID, it was almost like loads of people didn't even pay attention to it. Whereas usually, like, the Pentagon releasing, like, official UFO documentation would be, like, a massive worldwide thing. But it's like people didn't even really care, because everyone was like, we're gonna die!
Yeah, you would think it would have had way more, like, up thing from people.
I remember I remember when it came, like all those sort of documents came out, and it was literally just sort of brushed away within like a week. No one spoke.
So I don't know if it is like actually like if they deliberately released it then because they thought it would be like the time it would get the least amount of reaction, or if it's I don't know,
just
maybe that's just
coincidence.
Maybe they just thought now's as good a time as ever. I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favourite stories though of it, because I do love the idea of UFOs and you know, and sightings and things like that, and I'm always keeping an eye out on the skies above.
I remember like if you'd like asked me 10 years ago, I'd have probably been like, oh, I don't know, like there might be like aliens somewhere, but I don't like, do you know what I mean? I'm not really sure. Or whereas like nowadays, I do think that it's like I used to almost be like almost like I think if you said that like you believed in aliens, you were almost like immediately branded a bit of a quack. Whereas nowadays, I think it just goes to show like loads of actually like credible scientists and like military personnel and like just, you know, respect for people in general do actually like believe it and
have had these experiences.
And there is like, regardless of whether you believe it or not, there is definitely like a lot of weird things like that case that make you just be like, man, what's going on here?
I love it because they've obviously got like protocols that they've got to follow and everything, and with their radar systems and all of that stuff. So they if a military person has seen something, they've got to report it and they've got to follow this certain set of protocols, and that's really good because that's like the most information. It's not just someone seeing it, they can actually record it and stuff like that, which is, I always like, it gives it more.
I like that story. I've seen the video before, but I've never actually heard like the whole story and the mission behind it, so that's quite cool.
I'll whack it on in a minute. I think as well about that one is because, you know, like sometimes you might see like because all a UFO is like an unidentified flying object. Doesn't mean necessarily it's an alien, does it? It just means it's unidentified. But like, you know, like sometimes there might be like some like strange like weather phenomena. Like I know that like sometimes there might be like some sort of like atmosphere, like some reaction in the atmosphere might cause like almost like balls of lightning to like hover in the sky at night, and that obviously that really freaks people out because to like the average person you're like, what the hell is that?
Starship.
But like that, but at the same time that's not like capable.
It's explainable.
Yeah, and it's not capable of like what you would consider almost like in like reactive flight.
Yeah.
Whereas like with that one, it's like that was like reacting to. So that's weird.
And what's most impressive about it as well is like the two bits for me are like the when it went from just completely standstill to up at like 18,000 feet up at his own level, like so quickly in a few seconds. They were saying there's no
plane on Earth as far as like the American government know.
That could have done that, and also 7,200 miles an hour or whatever it was to get to that other point like so quickly. But the other thing as well, so that is I think like, could this be just technology that we don't know about, like almost like hidden government technology, not necessarily like, you know what I mean? Is there more advanced technology that isn't in the public eye?
Do you know what?
I think there's definitely like more advanced technology that the government have that we don't know about. Whether that's what this is or not, I'm not sure. But I do think there's like
fast.
I was going to say
like, a bit like
I don't. This might
too
just
fast.
Obviously, I'm not like an expert on the subject, but I would almost think it's almost like more implausible to think that like mankind has like that sort of tech at the moment. Than it almost is to think that there's like that it's like an alien or something. Oh, not like an alien, just like something that's not you know, explainable by man. Because that's like, as you said, like to travel, what was it, 60 miles in 30 seconds? That's crazy.
It's like the size of it as well. I never realised it was like that big. I always just sort of thought it was almost like a really small sort of like drone size,
like
sort
the size
of
like a car or something.
I didn't realise it was like the size of a Boeing airplane.
Yeah, no propellers, just like just a smooth little Tic Tac.
Yeah, like a 737. That's like it's not as big as a 747, is it? But it's a big plane still. It's like a big commercial plane.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people it fits. See if you can like find it.
737 sat.
Yeah, like how actual big is that? How many feet long is like a Boeing 737? I mean, I assume being like an aircraft pilot, he was like a bit of an expert on planes as well. So I suppose he was pretty accurate with his like you know, description.
So it's like 33 meters.
Yeah, that's pretty big, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's pretty darn big.
Yeah.
33
Big old
meters.
boy.
What's that, like over 70 feet, isn't it? Like way over 70 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like 80 feet long or something like that. It's a big aircraft, isn't it?
Yeah, to be moving that quick.
Yeah, that is how many feet? That's 108 feet.
Oh wow, yeah, that's massive,
Whoa.
isn't it? That's massive.
Big old boy.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah, that's
I can't
one of
remember
my
it's-
faves.
Yeah, one of the things as well that David Fravor said, because I watched that Joe Rogan podcast.
It was real interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, and one thing he said as well, which I thought was almost like just as crazy, if not more, like it was probably like maybe like not more crazy than that story, but almost like more ominous. I thought, because there's something quite freaky about the ocean anyway, like the depths of the ocean and like the unknown of the ocean. Like they say, don't they, that we know more about the surface of the moon than we do about like the depths of the ocean on the planet, which is a crazy fact, isn't it? But yeah, one of the things that I thought was like most crazy, it was another story he told, because I think Joe was asking him if like other weird stuff had happened during his career, and he was saying that like one night, it's really annoying, I can't remember what they were going to retrieve, but it was something that was like made a lot of sense, but it was something like they had something like empty missiles or something like that they would deploy, and then they would obviously like test them, but they didn't actually have any explosives in them or something like that. But then like helicopters would have to go and pick them up. So like Navy personnel would like go down, almost like abseil down, and then they'd have to like put like hook it onto the helicopter, and then the helicopter would take it back to the aircraft carrier, right? And he was like saying that like once they were doing it at night, and he was like going down, or I can't remember if it was like him or if he was like on the helicopter and it was like one of his personnel that were going down to do it, but they like went like down to like hook it, and then just as they were about to hook it, they suddenly saw like some like massive object like come up from like the depths of the ocean, and it was like proper like sketchy. And then like he hesitated like hooking it, and then he was gonna do it anyway, but then as he did it, just like the thing that they were gonna hook just got like sucked down into the ocean and then suddenly completely disappeared. And they said that they like pulled him
I
up like
remember
quickly,
that bit now, yeah.
pulled it up to the helicopter, and they just couldn't find any signs of it like visually or on radar or anything, and they were just like, what the hell just like took that?
Yeah, man. I remember that bit now as well.
So it's almost like that's freaking weird. That's like sketchy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? That's like
The Kraken.
it's like Cthulhu.
The Kraken came and ate it.
Yeah, Cthulhu just swallowed it. Or something, do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's freaky. Right, I'll try and find some footage of that anyway.
Oh yeah, I know which one it is, I think.
If I just type in like
Finding the video. The Tic Tac alien.
official one.
a minute. I think I've got it here. I think it's not exactly the one that you said, Drew, but let's have a look. So, can people see this?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots.
Is this a different one?
Different one.
But it's still cool.
Dude.
That's one of the other official ones that have been released.
Was this?
It's cool
were
that
these
it's got to the point where there's that many, isn't there?
Were these the three that
there's
they
three
released
official
all together?
ones. Oh, it might be, yeah.
Oh, right. So it's like this might include David Fravor's one.
To be honest, when you watch the video, it is quite boring. It's like a little dot, and then all of a sudden it just like moves out of shot real fast. But what they're saying is that the speed that it moves out of shot is and like these are the best radars and that, and the fact that it couldn't keep on it or anything was like crazy.
It's cool that they've actually like formalised a reporting process for pilots to report these sightings.
Yeah.
I guess before there was just no like official way of. So what? Sorry, Drew. I'll type in like the official one. What did you say it was?
FLIR1.
FLIR1 video. Let's see
Will
if
we
that
find
comes.
it?
There we go.
Yeah.
So just this one.
There
I think?
we go.
Yeah, man.
Let's have a look. It's a bit quiet.
Yeah, so it's so you basically just see the little dot in the middle.
So is that it? That little thing in the middle?
Yeah. So that's what the guy picked up on the radar, and they keep kind of like zooming in and out and stuff, and putting different kind of things on to
I can imagine that's more like where it's in the air, and before it was when it was above the sea.
Yeah,
That's just what I'm just imagining.
and then as it kind of goes through, you'll see it just like jump out of frame. It will just like kind of like fly off.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't look too crazy in the video, but like with actually what it would take, the velocity that it would take to actually
I think it's
get out a frame like that.
I think it's quite creepy how it just sort of like stays in the same position as well, almost like a hoverfly.
Yeah, but
because that's like quite advanced in itself, isn't it? Like to actually just hover.
Yeah.
Like airplanes and stuff. Helicopters can do it, but that's because they've got a propeller.
Yeah, and to go from hovering to just like zooming off so quick as well.
Yeah. And they have like Harrier jump jets nowadays, don't they? Like fighter planes that can take off vertically, but that's because they have like real powerful downward thrusters, whereas this is just like weirdly just hovering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will it move?
Well, oh, it did just move.
Oh, see that? It just goes out of frame.
Like a little grain. It looks almost just like a grain of rice, doesn't it?
The grain of rice disappeared.
But a grain of rice the size of a massive plane.
Yeah. So, and it looks really weird, like with those radars and everything. But it's just like when people study it scientifically, like how for something to actually do that is like mental.
Yeah,
like the fact that they couldn't keep it locked on with the radar. It was just like out of frame. See you later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird. Yeah, I don't really know what to make of it all, to be honest. As I said, I think that like the more time goes on and the older I get, the more I am like thinking that there is a much more of a chance that we might have been like visited by some sort of creatures
extraterrestrials.
From beyond. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is one to like talk about more in depth on another episode or something as well. But have you ever heard about the wow signal that they just called it wow?
No.
It was like two scientists figured out. I don't know when it was. I think it was like 20 years ago or something. It wasn't like this isn't like super recent. But they figured out that like the frequencies that aliens would be most likely to transmit messages on, or something like that. Because I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like this is above my pay grade. It was like the frequencies were the frequencies that are most common in the universe. So like any intelligent being would come to the conclusion that the most likely way to contact anyone would be to broadcast them on that frequency.
Oh, okay,
right?
Cool.
And then they literally did that, and then within days they founded like a transmission that like had to have been made intelligently. It was like all like code. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it was like listening to the radio. It all came through by like code and like numbers and letters. Cool. But then I think like as like the universes would just like naturally transmit. It was like lots of little random ones. And then they came across one that was almost like sentences, and then they call it the wow signal. And they have never found it again since. It came, but they do know where it originates. It came from the Sagittarius constellation.
See, Zeta Reticuli.
So I don't know how far away the Sagittarius constellation is. I can quickly find out. But and to this day, that's like a complete mystery, and they haven't found it again. But yeah, there was like one time when like a mysterious, intelligent like transmission was sent from Sagittarius.
I just think as well, like you think of how far our technology's come in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
Like, you know, such a small blip in human history, and how like insanely fast we've just like exploded with technology. Like if there is other intelligent life out there, like of course, like the amount of planets and all of that stuff,
must be,
you know,
think of all the different like.
If we've done it, why couldn't they have done it?
Yeah,
you know?
think of all the different planets that they've found that is, you know, habitable for life and habitable for intelligent life and everything. There's got to be other people out there. There's got to be other sort of.
Oh, sure. I know there is.
I think as well. I think like, you know, like time is so relative, and I think like for us, we think of time first and foremost in terms of like relative to our own lives, and then beyond that we think of it in terms of like how long we sort of know like civilized mankind has been around, like civilizations, and then beyond that we think of things like, you know, you might go back and think, oh, okay, epochs. Like 66 million years ago, that's when the dinosaurs went extinct. So you can sort of like go back like that. But if you think about it, the universe is so how many billions years old is the universe again? Can you remember? It's like it's a lot of billions of years. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head.
It's a long old time.
I wanna say that the Earth is like 3 billion years old or something like that. I think it might be 3 billion. That might be completely off.
Is it the Earth? 4.5 billion the Earth
4.5 billion years. And I think, apparently the Earth is about middle-aged at the moment. I remember hearing that.
Midlife crisis.
But obviously the universe is like a lot older than that. So like
13.7 billion years old.
That's how old the universe is.
Whoa.
So yeah, we can't really comprehend that amount of time, can we? So it's like, if you think about it, it's like time, like civilizations are so random. Like think so, like Homo sapiens as we are now evolved sort of between 200,000 and 300,000 years ago, right? Which seems like a really long time to us, and it is. Don't get me wrong, like relative to our lifetimes, but
relative to 13.7 billion years.
Or like there could have been a civilization that was already like where we are now when the dinosaurs went extinct, and then who knows what that extra like 6 million years worth of like advancement would do. Like these things now, as I said, that like if there was some random civilization just in Sagittarius or something, which apparently by the way is 10,600 light years away from Earth.
Quite far.
So very far. Yeah, very far. I don't know how long that would take like a modern advanced like NASA ship to get to, but it would be like ridiculous, wouldn't it? It'd be
if it's light years,
well, it would be 10,000.
That's
the measurement of time.
Speed of light.
Yeah,
it would take at the speed of light. It'd take
10,600 years.
Yeah,
is that literally how it works? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot more like
miles per
that's
hour.
a lot more like simple than I imagined.
I might be oversimplifying it, but that's what I gather. Like miles per hour.
I always
means
make
how
life
many
too difficult
miles
for
in
myself.
I think that is right.
Yeah,
I think so. It's how long that the light takes to travel from that distance.
So that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, but as I said, like, because I remember hearing as well, like, have you heard about the idea of like type 1 and type 2 and type 3 civilizations? So let me try and think about how this is. Yeah, that's the most advanced one. Peter Steele, rest in peace. I think this is right. This might be wrong. I think that we are what we consider now, like just like what like astrophysicists would consider a type 1 civilization. So that means that we could like affect our Earth's atmosphere, but we can't control it.
Oh, okay.
A type 2 civilization would be like a civilization that can control their planet's atmosphere, which would be like amazing, because that would mean that literally you had control over like supervolcanoes, hurricanes, the ozone layer, like everything. So you could basically make your planet through your technology like immortal and like have complete control over it. Whereas at the moment, obviously, we're still at the stage, regardless of how like fancy we might be with our latest iPhones and stuff. If like a tsunami random, like like when that tsunami hit,
don't take everything out. Yeah,
there was a tsunami that hit like Japan in like 2016 or something, wasn't it? And it like just destroyed like miles worth of coastline, like thousands of people died and stuff. Like if freak events like that happen. Or like there might be like a massive hurricane or like earthquake in America.
You can do so much to mitigate the risk, but it will still pretty much wipe everything out.
Yeah. Whereas I think that's like a type 2 civilization would be able to like have complete control over that, and then a type 3 civilization would be one that can control the star which powers their planet. So if like a type 3 civilization would be one that can harness and control the power of their sun. Whoa. And then that would that's considered like the apex. So they were saying that I can't remember what they were saying. They were saying something like, it would take something like another million years of like human advancement to probably get to like that level. But like, who's to say there isn't a civilization out there somewhere that has
that's
that,
it. Totally. Yeah. With the amount of billions of...
The hard part is, and the problem is getting to that point, getting to say like the type 2 part before either like a meteorite or some other global catastrophe takes you out and puts everything back to square one again. That's like the hard part, because once you get to type 2, do you know what I mean, it's like okay, once you can control your planet, then it's like you have like so much more time to play with. But we're still at the stage now where it's like with the dinosaurs, if like a freaking like asteroid, meteorite that was like 4 miles long just suddenly hit, like regardless of where it was in the world, we would all just be like boom.
I find that really interesting, because where everything is like in cycles as well, like cycles around the sun and the planets and the spinning and everything like that, it does seem like there is this like asteroid belt or something that keeps coming round the cycle of our planet like every like 30,000 years. That's what people like, there's things about that. So like the ones that have hit the Earth have like been from that. So it'll just
really?
Yeah, have you heard that one?
No,
so
I haven't heard that. I didn't know that like all the meteorites that hit the Earth were like connected. I didn't know that. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, that might be just me been thinking about it and
Oh,
thinking
right.
that could be why.
And that's Drew's personal hypothesis.
Yeah, like every however many years in whatever cycle it is, there's these asteroids that will go through this like belt of Earth's. Like will go through this belt of asteroids, or this thing that keeps happening in a cyclical nature, and every time that happens, think they could pass our Earth like quite. You know what I mean? Quite closely.
Yeah, they reckon that like pretty big asteroids pass Earth like quite regularly, don't they?
Yeah,
they found ones that have literally just like grazed past the Earth before, and then we'll just find out afterwards that it happened because we just couldn't like track it or anything.
Yeah, because if the sun's in the way as well, that's what I've heard like scientists like saying about
we can't
that,
see it
because we can't see it. A lot of the time we can like see and try and make something like
if it was say like the other side of the sun,
then it's like
it's like
if someone throws
enemy.
a pebble at you when you got the sun in your eyes, you ain't seeing that pebble coming.
No, you just
It's the same on a big scale.
Yeah. I remember hearing as well that like we have like a lot to thank Jupiter for, because obviously Jupiter's the largest planet in our solar system, and then it's like if it wasn't for the massive gravitational pull of Jupiter that was almost like sucking in all the big asteroids, then we would have just been like obliterated by now. But luckily it's like they get close enough to us,
and
that,
then
like,
just get
if you think
pulled,
about like the pull of the Earth, it's like so tiny compared to the pull of Jupiter that like if it's in the middle it sort of starts veering off towards Jupiter.
Yeah.
So it's like, thanks Jupiter. Anyway, I think that's it for Mystery Mondays this week. That was a good one. Nice little chat about aliens and the wider universe. So yeah, thanks for that one, Drew.
No worries, man.
We hope that everyone out there has enjoyed this mystery. And stay tuned for more Mystery Mondays every Monday, and for Pandora's Box hitting y'all right in the gonads every Wednesday evening.
Oh yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.